everybody, welcome back to the Huckleberry Concepts Wood Shop. Today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some tips, some ideas that I use around my shop that help me out. I do challenge all the other YouTubers to come in and put their ideas out there as well. We're all on here to learn new things, be creative, find new and better ways of doing things, maybe save a couple dollars as well. So I wanted to point out just a handful of things that I do around my shop that extends my tool life or improves my processes. So first of all, with my CNC, this is Axiom CNC, probably, in my opinion, the best CNC out in this range. If you're looking for a 2x3 or 4x4 unit, go with this guy here. Very sturdy. I've had this guy for about 8 years. Here's my problem though. In those 8 years, I've had several of these guides somehow get hit by the spindle, by the carbide bit in the spindle. Now, it cannot be my fault. I mean, it has to be machine error. It can't be operator error. But regardless, it happens. So I hate just throwing these things away, but eventually I'm going to have to. But what I've done is I've taken some electrical tape, tape it around the edge of it, and it's going to last a little bit longer. Maybe I get another year out of these clamps. The other thing that is helpful is these clamps come with a little black semi-spongy material to hold down your material. Well, eventually these do get nicked as well. They get lost. Then they get sucked up into your dust collection, and you never find them again. Again, that electrical black tape works wonders, so I do highly recommend that. One thing I do also recommend, by default, the guides usually come with these small little handles. For me, being a big guy, big hands, they're sometimes a little bit harder to get a hold of, and I'm sure, maybe a little arthritis setting in or something like that. It's not as easy as maybe it would have been 20 years ago. So what I did was I had hit one of these with the machine hit one of these with the spindle. Again, it's the machine's fault. It's not my fault. It's not operator error. And I found some new grips, and I thought, well, I'm just going to put these on here to replace them because my clamp is still good. And I went with a bigger knob on these. This makes it a little bit more comfortable, and if you get on that certain area that you need to clamp down a little bit harder, these work a lot better because you can grab it, versus with the smaller ones you got to use your fingertips more. So just a couple ideas. Two more tips. I want to keep my tools close to me, especially these wrenches, bits that I use on a regular basis, my clamps. I want to have these close to the CNC. So what I did was I picked up a couple of these magnet bars. I got them at Harbor Freight. I think they were about $7 or $8 a piece. Just mounted them to the wall. They've worked great. Nice magnet, not too overbearing, but it does hold them down quite well. Other thing, sometimes I can't use my clamps. So what I've done is I've made a set of guides, and I've used these. I've made some extra ones up here as well, but I've made some long ones, some short ones. I will put a link down in to my website that will include the CNC files for these in case you want to make a set. Very easy to make, made with 1/2-inch plywood. I think this one's made out of birch, extra birch I had, and this one's made out of oak. So just a nice little piece to use when you can't use your clay. When I think of sponsorships, I think of a race car movie that has some very funny sponsorships in it. Mostly they are real products, but they have made a lot of funny comments in there. And one of them that I always think of is he holds up some chewing gum and he says, if you're not chewing this gum, then, so I'm going the same route. If you're not using Wayne's Wood Wax, then, no, just kidding. This is not a sponsorship. I make this wax. You can find this on my website. It is very reasonably priced. Mainly I use it for my cutting boards. That's why I originally created it. It is made with beeswax. It does have food grade mineral oil in there, and it does have a couple other ingredients as well. I'll give you a hint. Smells like pina coladas. So anyway, so I do use this. I do use mineral oil, and I do use wood wax, Wayne's Wood Wax, on my charcuterie boards and my cutting boards. It does keep them looking great, looking fresh. But I started seeing some other articles on YouTube, and I thought, man, I need to use these for some other things. So what I'm showing you is some clamps. I actually put the wax on the bars of my clamps. So when ultimately I am gluing boards together, which we're all doing, when we're gluing those boards together, glue drips down onto the bars. Once that dries, it can be hard to get off, especially if it's in the grooves. So with the wax, it makes it a lot easier to come off. I would recommend putting this on maybe once every 6 months. The other benefit of it is going to lubricate your movements. So you are going to have a little bit of nicer movements with your clamps. Another thing that I personally have issues with is making sure my boards are good and flat when I glue them together. So what I've started doing, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing the same thing, is I've put cawls on the end of these and put clamps here as well. Now what I was thinking about was I was just going to use some melamine or something like that, but I ended up having some tuck tape. And so what I did was I put tuck tape on a few boards, clamped them down, and as probably a lot of you all know, tuck tape does epoxy does not stick to tuck tape. Glue doesn't stick to it either. So it's easy for you to take it off once your boards are dry. Now, with this, I've also seen somebody else create an even better version of tying in your clamps with your cawls, and basically integrate the clamp into your cawls so that you do not have to have 4 individual pieces. You're just going to have one robust piece. I am going to make a small video on that with my next tips, but I do have to give credit to somebody else. I did not think of that idea. Wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. Oh, you're still here. You caught me just doing a few karate moves. I'm practicing my karate right now. No, I'm using Wayne's Wood Wax again. What I'm doing here is I'm putting a little bit of wax on my table. Now I've done this for my table saw, my band saw. What it's doing is a couple things. One, it's protecting it. So we all have issues with maybe a little moisture in our shop. Maybe somebody accidentally, maybe me, puts a cold drink and it sweats onto the table, and then you get a little bit of a rust spot on there. Not good. Doesn't look good. And we spend a lot of money on these machines. So this gives a little bit of protection on here so that you don't have to worry about those rust stains. The next thing it does is that it makes your wood, it's going to let that slide a little bit easier. So just another good tip for Wayne's Wood Wax. A lot of people ask where I get my lumber from. If it's going to be sheet goods, normally Menards, Lowe's, Home Depot, someplace like that.
Usually I will go to Menards. They usually have some of the best pricing around here, plus a lot of times they have 11% rebate. However, with hardwoods, we do have a few shops around here, but the price, they're pretty proud of their pricing, and rightfully so. They do have some good things. Some people will look at going to sawmills, and that's a great thing to do as well. You're going to get it a little bit cheaper. You can put a little bit more effort into the wood, do some some work equity, and you'll need to have a planer and a jointer to work with that rough cut lumber. One place I have had a lot of success getting wood is at auctions, and that might be kind of a weird place for some people to look, but I have found a few auctions around me. Well, thanks for watching. I hope these ideas helped and gave you a few more ideas. If you guys have any ideas for helpful tips around your workshop, I would love to see them. So thanks a lot. If you found this information useful, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I should have some more videos out pretty soon. Thanks.